Yeah, my people. Yeah, today is a great day. Today we are having, first of all, my name is Chinedu Anichi, your one and only celebrity. So, and today is a great day. We are having one of our brothers, one of our daddies, one of our uncles, who in his life has made a legacy of hard work, worthy of emulation. And today we have him in the studio. And in spirit of punctuality, I've been here, but some technical issues took me longer than the time we should start. About 7 minutes. I apologize most sincerely. It's not his fault. But now he's in the studio. I have the privilege to bring to the studio Professor Abbah, SARKI. So, my people, those of you watching on Instagram, those on YouTube, those on Facebook, you have our brother, the intellectual academic, the doctor of Western School of Medicine in Chicago, Illinois, in the United States of America. So, Prof is here today, and I'm so happy. So, are you connected? So, Prof, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you, Chinedu,
Yeah.
my brother. Thank you.
So, thank you for coming, Prof. We know that we have a tight schedule, so I'm really pleased to have you because you know what it would have taken us to have you. But God is great. You are here already. Well, I have the privilege to allow you to introduce yourself to our viewers, sir, because I think the introduction will be better done by you. Because if I start introducing you, it will take half of this discussion. Let me
Yes,
allow you to introduce yourself the way you want to address, but I would
yes,
want you to also bring out some of those things that will trigger our emulation. So, because I know you're a very humble and simple person. Yeah. So,
okay. Well, thank you, Chinedu. I'm glad to be with you and with all the other people who are uh, on the show. So my name is Sarki Abbah Abdul Kader, and I was born and raised in Kano, uh, Nigeria, and I got my basic, you know, education there. Um, attended all public schools. And I think maybe a lot of what people talk about me has to do with my experience. We were very fortunate to be among the first, not the very first, but some of the early set of students that were enrolled in special schools that were founded by the state government that really selected students after the first 2 years of their secondary schools to go and complete the last 3 years in very well equipped, with a very good teachers, a very good support system, just so that they can elevate the level of educational achievement in Kano State. So these were the science secondary schools. Initially, there were two, Dawakin Tofa, Dawakin Kudu. So I went to one of those, and I think the story that really gets that circulates a lot is we were very lucky to have really good results for the GCE O levels, and it turns out that WAEC actually was the year that I graduated, planning to select the best student overall. So we didn't know that, right? We were just, we were not preparing because we didn't know that there's anything like, WAEC selecting anybody special, but it's just coincidence, and that they found my results to be the top results. And one of the officials was telling me later, because there was an award that was given to the school and to myself. The ceremony was held in Abeokuta in Ogun State. And the following year, after we graduated in 1984, so this happened in 85. And they were telling me that initially, when they saw my results, it took them aback. And so they pulled all the papers and all the subjects and kind of put it together, and they quickly realized that there's nothing irregular about it. And so the way they did it is they took the average scores. So it's not just about the A's; it's really the average scores in the subjects, the top subject, which must include mathematics and English, and then whoever had the best average across all those subjects was awarded. And we had some other things also, like the national science quiz competition that we won. Also, our set, me and three of my colleagues from my school, and so on. So after that, then I went to ABU. I also got admitted to the University of Ibadan. To be honest with you, I that was like my other choice, to go to University of Ibadan and do medicine. But I ended up by staying at ABU, and we also had good outcomes there. And really, it was when I was at ABU that I decided, or I thought that a good way to contribute is to really participate in discovering new knowledge in medicine and new medicines. So, those of us from Africa, we tend to always get other people in other parts of the world, Europeans and now Chinese, Asians, and others. They will make something and they will bring it to us, and then we will use it. So I wanted to get involved in how do get to the bottom of diseases. How do you get to the bottom of actually making new medicine, okay, that never existed, and helping people? So I decided that I needed to come to the US, and there's a whole story about my coming to the US, maybe for another time. But I ended up here. I ended up at Johns Hopkins, got my PhD. Then, after that, did my residency at WashU in St. Louis, and then started, my journey here as an academician. I trained in pathology and prostate cancer. And so now I'm at Northwestern. I'm a professor here at Northwestern of urologic research. I'm also associate director for the Cancer Center in Translation, and director of the Center for Urologic Oncology, and other roles that I play. So I spend a lot of my time trying to fulfill my dream of discovering new medicines. We also have a startup company that we started, to try to bring these discoveries to people. I do engage also with Nigeria, trying to, we have a foundation, and we try to help out a little bit, and try to chip in whenever we are asked. I serve on the National Health Research Committee for Nigeria, and some other things that I do. So that is, I think, sufficient, and we can kind of dive into more questions that you have for me.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Prof, for this very brief and yeah, all detailed introduction. So, my people, you've heard from the horse's mouth this story of a man who took WAEC those days. That if you have a credit, it is credit, and he made A's to the astonishment of WAEC. And WAEC said, "No, we have not seen this kind of thing. You need to come. Let us examine you properly." And when they did, he did better than what WAEC had initially. So it
So
is
Chinedu, let me
valuable.
make a correction here. As you notice in my story, there is a slight difference in the story that tends to get circulated. So the
Okay,
story that gets
okay,
circulated said that they had me come, and some people even say that I had to, be on my singlet so that there's nothing on me. And no, they never really did that. They did, like I said, they did pull out all the papers and went over them and they compared with all the subjects. And then they realized, okay, this is now something that's real. And actually, I never asked them, how did you, what really made you decide that, okay, this is for real? But that's what they told me, that as soon as they took all the subjects and put them together, so all the heads of each subject. WIAC has a head for each, let's say like geography or English, that's the head of each of the sections. So they are the ones who pulled out all the papers and they looked at them and then they realized that, oh, okay, now there's no issues here. So now the story that gets circulated said that they forced me to retake it. That never really happened. So I just to make sure that people understand, there was surprise and there was skepticism, but they quickly realized that, okay, this is not, this is fine. Yeah.
Okay, that's better
Yes.
because
Yeah.
in the media you see a lot of things. It's good that you're here today and we have heard from you what really
Right.
happened, and we'll be able to refer
Right.
with all authenticity that this is what you say. Okay,
Right.
so thank you, Prof. On this note, why we called you today is that, Prof, the young people are losing it, and we are lacking intergenerational conversation. Well, and we know that knowledge, wisdom, or whatever you might call it might be IQ, it might be emotional intelligence, it might be anything. So, if it is not properly handed over from generation to generation seamlessly, even with respect to innovations as we evolve, so um, the later generation suffers.
Yes.
So this is why we decided to look for people like you
Right.
who has demonstrated that hard work is can you can reward has reward. The hard work has reward. That
Right.
integrity pays. So why I we are calling on you is we want you to talk to Nigerians, talk to Africans, and talk to other of our viewers from the other part of the world. What value system, positive value system, what it can do to,
Yeah.
um, for a man to subscribe to success
Yes.
without cutting shorts and doing this and that and that.
Yeah. So that's a really very important question, and I have been thinking, about this, and I think what I will say uh, to people, the younger generation, is you should really not limit your thinking to your immediate, you know, vicinity. So, you know, the person, somebody, you are in any Nigerian city, Zaria or Onisha or Ife or anywhere, the world, especially nowadays, is really is open to you much more so than before. So don't be thinking only in terms of what you see immediately and saying, well, my ambition or my goal is only going to be limited to, what I see around me. So if you have that, you realize that, and we see examples, there's those of us who started out Nigeria, and now we are anywhere, we can be anywhere. I was I was asked to, I was been recruited by the Chinese, right, to go and do my work there in China, for example. One time when I visited, right, ended up not going. But can you imagine, somebody from Kano like me, now here in the US, so going anywhere. And so whatever you do, if you know that your horizon is not limited to whatever is happening around you, because let's be honest, there are a lot of mistakes that are going on. in our country, like, some of the people not doing the right thing. So don't think you want to compare yourself to them. Just think you open. Now, with that in mind, when you set your goal in terms of what you want to achieve, and you now have a much more comprehensive and open uh, field in terms of what you can do. So that's number one. Number two, it's a general comment that I have for all of us Nigerians, including the leadership and the citizens and young and old, that we should really take advantage of the world, take advantage of the diaspora. Um, for example, our young people, let's say somebody who is interested in medicine and research, maybe wants to do something like I do, they are not limited, right, in terms of who they can get assistance from or guidance in only the people who are living near them. There's people like me and many others all over the world. Now communication is easy. I can, interact with people, and it's the same as if I'm living next door or in the same city, and you can come and see me. If you are able to get to talk to me, and so on, it's pretty much the same. Um, and this, in the same way, we need to think of our assets as not just limited to Nigeria. So we are very fortunate. The Nigerian diaspora is quite extensive and just dynamic, and there are hundreds and thousands of people who have done really well. We really need to be serious about how we can tap into this resource. It's not only about sending remittances, which is very important and helps all of us, helps our people. But there is no reason why, whenever we are looking for people to participate in anything, that somebody who is, let's say, at ABU Zaria will necessarily be more engaged than what somebody who is at Manchester, University of Manchester in the UK, or University of Chicago in the US, for example, because the world has now, it's now a global village, as they say. Communication is so much better and so much easier. I always give the example. I say, imagine a family, a father and mother that has, maybe 10 children, and maybe 7 of them are in Nigeria and they are working, and 3 of them are outside. When they are trying to do a project for the family, right? They say, the father says, hey, let's do something, let's build our compound, or let's do something for our family. You don't only look at those who are, in the same village or in the same city, right? Some of them may be in Lagos or in Abuja. They also, if someone is in London, he's fully engaged. They all participate and build whatever they are building together. So I think for Nigeria, which is a country that has a large population, that's one of the blessings we have, is we have a lot of people. And you can actually look at other nations that have a similar situation. China comes to mind, India, and so on, some of these big, large population countries. You know, some of them actually deliberately encourage their people to go outside, live and work and gain experience, and they facilitate the way for them to either come back permanently or come back and engage. I gave the example of China. I was just there for a visit professionally and give some scientific talks, and they had this program where they are encouraging the Chinese who are in the U.S. and other parts of the country to come, and actually run research labs, um, just for a few months a year, and they that way then they get all the benefits of the expertise of these people, and they train the other people, the young people over there. And so they are even opening it to non-Chinese. So that was what there was discussion about, whether I wanted to do that, and I declined. At the time when this was happening, you wouldn't just to even engage, to try to say, hey, I could help with something going on in Nigeria. At the time, it was really not possible. Things have gotten much better now. Now we are much more engaged. So I think we should see our population as a strength. We should see this Japa phenomenon that everybody is talking about not as a loss, because you can't change it. It's something that is happening and has happened, but turn it to an advantage by actually providing mechanisms and ways for people to either permanently come back or temporarily come for a short time and benefit. They bring, some resources, they bring expertise, there is knowledge exchange, they learn from our people who are at home. There are people at home learn from them. Um, I think this will be the things that I would say from the perspective of someone who is in the diaspora, that we are not taking advantage of this huge blessing that we have, of our people having come and spent a lot of time to be trained. Like I was trained, all my training was not paid for by the Nigerian government here in the US. From day one, I got a fellowship that fully funded me. It was a competitive Howard Hughes fellowship, uh, and everything else from that. So, and all what I've been doing with a lot of resources, right? I've gotten a lot of resources to do my research. So I have learned a lot, and have been, so why can't Nigeria now benefit from that? And I'm just one example. There are a lot of our people who have been outside and they have benefited from the societies where they're in, to getting a lot of training and expertise. So Nigeria should look at that as like, our people have been trained for free. Let's now, benefit from them. Not the way we are thinking like, oh my God, my goodness, this person has gone. Because to be honest, many of the people who have gone out, if they had remained, they would not have been able to achieve what they did because the resources were just not there. When I finished my training, the resources I got to start my lab, okay, there's no way, if I tell you the amount, there's no way, any ministry would have been able to give me that because it's just not, we just didn't have that money. So, so we should look at things in a positive light rather than lamenting and looking at it in a negative light. I wanted to pause Chinedu so you can put in a word or two.
Yeah, yeah, that's great. So, see, this is the reason. Yeah, so this is the reason why it's good to subscribe for this intergenerational conversation, because sometimes, I'm an Igbo man. There's an Igbo adage that says, if you see a snake on top of the tree, it will look like somebody carried it up to that point. It will, nobody will understand naturally
Right.
that the snake has the capacity to climb the tree. It will look as if somebody just carried it and put it on there. So when people see successful people today, when they talk of Okonjo Iweala, they talk
Right.
of all our people that have put up legacies and the in the global scene worthy of emulation and poised integrity and other things. It will look as if this man or this woman. I just heard you mention that you went to public school, you
Right.
know, and some people think that it is the kind of private school you go to, is the
Yes.
kind of, you see, that's what we are talking about, value system. You see,
Yes.
what
Yes.
our
Let me
people value.
let me add for you. Actually, you reminded me because you really make a good point about, when somebody has an ambition and wants to do something, the motivation and what we call the fire in the belly, that I want to do, achieve something, that's really important. So, we went to this public school, like I said, and unfortunately, did well and went to ABU. So when I was in medical school, like I told you, I said, look, I wanted to go and become somebody who will discover things in medicine. So talking to some mentors, some of our professors and so on, we had actually an American professor who visited ABU, for some project. And we went and talked to him. And remember, me and a few of my friends, we went to him, and he's the one who advised me and said, look, you can apply, you can go, maybe you want to go do a PhD in the US, and you can get funding. How do I get funding? He said, some of these programs are funded if you get in. So then I was beginning to apply, right, to the schools, and they wrote me and they said, okay, these are our requirements. You have to have something called the GRE. And I said, what's the GRE? None of us, nobody I knew has ever heard of anything called the GRE. The GRE is an exam, right, that you do that tests your abilities in, quantitative knowledge, mathematics, and logic, right, and language, to see if you are ready to participate in a PhD program. So the American programs generally require that. So I never knew about that. So what do? We went to the American consulate in Kaduna and said, hey, do you have an educational attaché? And we got introduced to the educational attaché, a very nice woman. She was an African American woman. I still remember her. And then she told us, okay, this is what it is. How do I study for that? Like I told you, nobody I knew has ever heard of this. So I had to be the first one, as far as I know, at ABU to now study for the GRE, take the GRE. I was fortunate enough that I got a really, really good score, almost a perfect score in the GRE. So then I submitted my application, and that's how I got, the Howard Hughes to actually offer me a fellowship, which then allowed me to come to the US. And even when applying, I didn't really know which school is better, which one is best. I ended up in a small state school, but quickly realized I can transfer. So I transferred like right away to Hopkins, and then started that. So I can tell you a lot of stories about challenges, okay, along the way that we came across. But I think the motivation and the fact that the belief that, well, I can do it. And if I can tell you the one secret of this school that we went to, the science school, where it produced a lot of really successful people, what they really did, in addition to teaching us, English, mathematics, science, we had the best teachers. We had teachers that were PhD holders in our secondary school at that time. What they taught us is to have self-confidence. Our principal, may his soul rest in peace, he's later on became ambassador of Nigeria to Jordan, Haruna Ungogo. He will talk to us and give us this pep talks that you can do anything. You have the ability to do anything you want to do, and you should not let anybody tell you cannot do whatever. And that's why when we were sitting for the WAEC or coming to the quiz exams, or we were at the university, even when I came to the US, I never felt any inadequacy. I just feel like I can do whatever anybody else can do and will apply myself and make that effort. So these are really important ingredients, and you just find the solution. There are issues, like I said, we faced situations where I don't know what to do, but you'll find a way. If there is a will, there is a way. This strong will, and I'm glad to say my mates who are even in secondary school and also at ABU that had this similar thing, and then immediately after us, a lot of our colleagues have actually done really well, have come out. In my set from ABU, we have had a lot of people who are doing quite well. But this mental state, I think this is one of the biggest problems that we have as a people, that the belief that, oh, I cannot do this, or I have to cut corners. It's only by connection or by whatever that I can achieve what I want to achieve. That is really a bad thing. And I think feeling that you could do it by yourself, and of course you need help from mentors and other people, but you have to have that will. So I'm glad you are highlighting this point because that has been really important in my life. And I think in the lives of the people you have mentioned too, they don't just wake up one day and find themselves where they are now. It's like, but if you say, I will do it, I want to do it, and I will do it, you will find that you will succeed one way or the other.
Yeah, that is great, Prof. Because you see, that is the difference between your generation and our generation. You see, teachers, it started with the teachers. You
Right,
know, in pedagogy, the skill of teaching, you are a teacher. You see, there must be interconnectedness between the teacher and the learner,
right,
between the speaker and the audience.
right,
That is the only way internalization is possible. You see, those few words given to you people at that point, that word was sacramentalized indelibly in your psychosomatic functions. That when you even arrived in America, you weren't shaking,
right,
you weren't concerned, you are confident that I can do it. Whatever somebody else can do, I can do.
right.
So, but the dysfunctional process starts with teaching this time. Those days, teachers live in their students.
Yeah,
You see, teachers live in their students. Like if you are walking and talking, you want to talk like your teacher. You want
right,
to, you are so proud. And the teacher is so proud to impact or project himself into you.
right.
But this time, I don't know if it is because of the choking angry finger of the economy. A lot of things have gone astray.
Yeah,
You go to school now, you see teachers concentrating on, you see somebody is a teacher and the person is a real estate businessman.
right.
You see somebody is a teacher and this person is selling lands here and there. How will
Yeah,
that man concentrate? How
yeah,
will he prepare his lesson notes? How will he strictly subscribe to the ethics of the
right.
pedagogy, the teaching skill?
Yeah,
So this value system start is from from the foundation of this our new generation. There is a problem.
yeah,
I am a Christian. I'm a Christian. Due respect to
right.
everybody's religion here. So the Bible says, if the foundation is bad, what
Right,
can a man do?
right, right.
See, what you are saying today and where you are today is is a result of your foundation.
Yes.
So today, what can you tell our teachers, our leaders, and those who emulate? Our
Yeah,
problem today is that we try to misplace values by we consider role models more relevant than mentors.
yeah,
Role models are people you just admire, you look at them, you don't know their secret life. You can
right.
just see them on social media, on all this thing. And when you see mentorship, when you meet a mentor,
Yes.
so there is a consolidated rapport between two of you, and
Yes.
you learn. That's a difference. So, Prof,
Yeah,
what will you tell our foundational,
yeah,
let me say, instruments of educational governance,
yeah,
all facets of our life
yeah.
in Nigeria?
So that's a really good point. There are two parts to this. So one part, really, um, our leadership, the government, needs to and has to prioritize education. Especially the early stage up to secondary school level. That needs to be totally supported. And I think the people need to demand that of the leaders, and one of the things that sometimes we don't think about is the political leadership. They respond to the signal they get from the people. So I'll give you an example. Like in some communities, you have a politician, they will come and distribute 1,000 bags of rice, for example, right? Or they will buy motorcycles, 100 or 200 or 500, and distribute to some, or 50 cars, or and the people who got that are going to be happy, and people will think that that's really a big achievement. But if that same politician were to do something, spend that same kind of money, resources for supporting schools, they may not get that same mileage, that same appreciation from the people. So, it cuts both ways. And I think the population needs to really prioritize investment that is more meaningful and much more impactful than what is I see happening nowadays. That's one part. So the government needs to do their part. The second part is the individuals, people, families, and I know some of this does happen, but the education of the young ones is really an investment, uh, because if you are a family and you are able to educate your kids and have them succeed, then really, that kind of can change the future of that whole family. So while we are trying to improve the government support in education, self-help type of activities, where people organize to um, help the students. And one thing which we can maybe think about doing is, especially the students who show evidence of motivation and talent. I'll give you an example. Okay, let me give you an example. Let's say, okay, you have in your family and your village, your community, someone as a kid who shows very good talent in football, and they just have skills. Now, if you know that, if you are able to, as a family, and maybe as a village, pull together your resources, you know, buy them equipment, the kit for playing, send them to a training place where they could do well, and then they can go and play for Real Madrid or any of these big, um, teams, and make a lot of money. And when they make a lot of money, now they're going to take care of your family and everything. You will not be waiting for the government, to do that for you, even though it's in the interest of the government also to train a lot of good footballers so we can do very well in the World Cup and other things. But nobody has to tell you that, hey, if the Ministry of Sports or whoever is responsible are not very motivated, or they are not doing a good job, you're not going to wait. You're going to do all you can to make sure that your kids who, there is a potential for them to really succeed at a very high level and give a lot of benefit to you and your community, you're gonna support them. So I think, the more we begin to think in this way, and you notice I gave the example of somebody playing outside, because I want to turn it back also to the issue that you are not only thinking of the local teams that maybe are not going to pay as much, right? Even though we want them to do well and whatever. That, hey, there's potential. This person can go all over the world, to many places and really do well and benefit us. So we understand that in terms of things like sport, like acting, entertainment. They say somebody has a talent as a musician, oh, this person could be big and win the Grammys and whatever. And nobody needs to tell you. Everybody in their family, they will support that. So, you can have your kid, come and do really well and be like the next founder of Google or Facebook or whatever. wealth that you cannot even imagine. It's a talent. God distributes talent. One of the actually this statement was made by one person that I came across when I was talking to, who is not a Nigerian, is a white American. They were making the point that talent is distributed all across the world. The only difference is, do you find and support your own talented people as a society or not? Just like we see all these people who are succeeding and doing things, inventing the iPhone or whatever, they don't have two heads. They have only one head. Okay. And it's the same brain. In fact, some of our Nigerians are actually, some of the people that I meet that are very successful here, I know Nigerians that are, if you are talking raw talent and just brains, probably are more, but definitely the same. But it's the opportunity, and some of these opportunities are time dependent, right? You need to be in the right place at the right time to be able to do this thing. So we need really, that's when I say we need to really look at our human capital, right? Look at India. So I'll tell you, India has this institution called the IIT, right? Which is the Indian Institute for Technology or something like that. And they have very tough exams. They select the very top students from out of all the population in India. They have this exam. You get in. They give fantastic, phenomenal training, and then many of these kids go, like they release them. It's like they're ambassadors. They just release them, many of them in the US. A lot of CEOs of tech companies, of like all kinds of things, and at the end of the day they end up benefiting the country, because if they had stayed, especially 20 years ago, the India didn't have the capacity to allow these people to bloom. So when you are blessed with children, with people that in your, either as a family you have children, or as a community you have young people in your community, or as a country you have people, human beings are much bigger resource than all the oil, all the gold, all the diamond, all the things that people are fighting over. Okay, all the things, you think, oh, Nigeria has all this oil, the oil money. You have one few young people start a company whose annual revenue is now in line with all the oil that a country will have, just from their head. And they were at the right place, the right time, and is the right. So we need to stop thinking in the you know old-fashioned way. We need to really think as a nation. We are blessed, like I said. Nigerians, you see them all over the country. They are surviving. They are doing really well. Some of them are doing it in a bad way. We advise them to stop. They are smart. They should use that smart in a positive way. Most of them they work hard. They are motivated, and we need to amplify that and make sure we make maximum use of it. Our people back home need to support the people, and see our people as our resource, as our strength.
Wow, that's great. Yeah, thank you, Prof. Prof, the area I want to go now is that the area of your research in urology.
Okay.
Okay, and in the university and School of Medicine, I know what it means to be, from what I saw in the Google, sometimes you just read up.
Yeah.
Only when you put up, we know the real one, because a lot of things are on social media. So, but I know that you're assistant professor of research, from what they wrote, from what I wrote from the Google, and on urology, and you are practically, you are you are basing your research on prostate cancer. And how does this translate to our health system in Nigeria, Prof?
Yes. That's a really, really good question. Because I'll tell you, over the years, you know, I do ask myself this question, right? I said, look, hey, here I am doing what I am doing. Is this the best thing, or is it better that you go and treat individually people back home? Obviously, the answer is that both are needed, but I'll just say that in general, out of maybe every 1,000 doctors that we have in Nigeria, and not just in Nigeria, actually, this is generally even in the US, the majority um, engage more in direct taking care of patients, which we all need. We need individually, and our families need our parents. But you have a small percentage that get engaged in the discovery of new knowledge, right? So it's like after the harvest, you get all your corn, and you don't want to eat all of it. You need to have some seeds to plant for the next year. If you don't have those few seeds for the next year, you're going to be in trouble. So if we don't have some people that are going to spend their time to deal with discovering new treatments for the things that we don't have treatment about, then we're going to have in trouble. So how does what I do help? So I do urologic research. I have an endowed professorship at Northwestern to do that. Um, and I do two things in my research, and I think both um, will help and do help our people. The first thing is we don't understand a lot cancer. Okay, our understanding of cancer is not complete. We have very little understanding. So we need to do research to understand exactly how is it happening, and when it happens, sometimes in different populations, like in black people, maybe it is different. How is it different? So that we now know how to treat appropriately, right? Just like breast cancer, for example, some of our black women, they have a particular type compared to others. So how we treat, and unless we do that, you know we can, some other people could do it for us, but we have to do it for ourselves also. So that is something very important. We need to understand the disease so we can know how to diagnose it better and how to give the right treatment. Even the treatments we have today, they don't work the same. So you can imagine somebody unfortunately has a cancer, and you give them treatment A, it will help them. You give them treatment B, it doesn't help them. If you don't know and you give them treatment B, so it doesn't help them and they lose time. The biggest problem with this disease is time. If you get it early, actually you can be cured. So the longer you are wasting time giving them a treatment that doesn't help them, first of all, the treatment has side effects, they are suffering, and you are not helping them and you are wasting their time. So the time is life for this, for everybody, especially for this patient. So to understand that, and when we make these findings, everybody all over the world will use that information. That's what even all the doctors we have now anywhere. You go to a doctor in Nigeria and they trying to help you. That knowledge they are using to help you is something that's discovered maybe in England, maybe in the US, maybe in Europe, maybe in China, maybe in India. It doesn't matter. Once the knowledge is there, it helps everybody. Okay, so that is one thing. The second thing is to make drugs. And we are working on making drugs for not just actually prostate cancer, but we are working on something that can help almost half of all cancers of all kinds. Okay, and so it has been a challenge to make a drug. So we've been able to make some breakthroughs. You'll see it on our websites and in the news stories that are covered. And the question that I get asked is, okay, now let's say you finish all of that and this one is produced. Will our people in Nigeria get it? Okay. Well, the answer is yes. But unless it's produced, there's no hope of anybody actually getting it, right? So whatever we use now, whatever the cost and whatever, but what happens initially, it will be more expensive because of all the people who have put in resources to develop it. But when you have it, it helps. And what I have high hopes about is to be able to do something that will produce some medicine that will help not only while I'm alive. Can you imagine? You imagine, I always give the example. Let's say penicillin, antibiotic, right? The guy who discovered it, many, many hundreds years ago, Alexander Fleming. Can you imagine how many billion people over time have benefited from that medicine? Can you imagine how many in history, from the beginning of the discovery of that medicine until today, how many billions of people have benefited from that over time? All the medicines we take, for like chloroquine for malaria. I'm sure both you and I have taken chloroquine at one time, or
Yes,
the
yeah.
the pain medicine like Tylenol, Panadol, paracetamol. All these things, people did these things, and they did it. What they should have been thinking is not only in my village, or my city, or my country, or my time. It's going to be all over the world, and even after my time, after I'm gone, people will keep benefiting from it. So I think that's the spirit in which we do this work.
Wow, that's great. We hope one of the things that is consoling is that, first of all, our own is part of this research.
Right.
You know, so that is it. It's not as if there's a segregational attitude, but nature makes it like that. That when you have your own involved in a progressive venture, or things that would provide solution to so challenges, global challenges, why shouldn't you celebrate? So just like we're talking about value system,
Right.
some of the things our people celebrate are things you should naturally not celebrate. So I'm
Yeah.
telling you, just like you
Mm.
see in Nigeria, a little digression, people are doing BB Niger. They are not
Right.
encouraging, and all the youths are going there to see
Yeah.
nudity, to see people showing easy virtue and all
Correct.
that. So nobody is organizing things that have to do with brain, technical development, or
Yeah.
um, a scale judged on sound morality or something. So, but for those of us who value people like you, I must confess in this platform that we are happy that you are part of this venture that is going to proffer solution to a global challenge like cancer. So,
Thank you.
yeah, so we are happy and we are proud of you. So,
Thank you.
it's just the word. Somebody should not be passive. You don't just come and exist and be passive. You need to exist and leave indelible legacies.
Right.
One of the things that shaped my mind, Prof, was that I visited a student of law in University of Lagos
Right.
one time around 1999.
Right.
Something I saw, there's an inscription, a write-up on his door as a student. What I saw there is helping me to today.
Right.
I read from the door, and the word said, if I end up a street sweeper,
Right.
let me sweep the street so well that the host of heaven and men on earth
Right.
will know when I go that there lived a great street sweeper.
Yes.
So when I saw that, I said, come on, if a law student can be saying this, what am
Yeah.
I doing? So
That is
people,
a good. That's a good question, Chinedu. And I'll tell you, one of the countries that I admire, I have been to several times, is Japan. They are not perfect, but they have some good traits. And this quote that you gave, they apply it there. So the first time I went to Japan, I took the taxi from the airport to take me to my hotel room. And when I entered the taxi, first of all, the driver was well dressed. And I bet you, yeah, I'm telling you, when you enter, you will think you have entered the office of someone who is very proud of their job. Everything is neatly arranged. You can tell he's proud to be a taxi driver. Okay. And in Japan, what they do when you have a store, in front of your store, if it's that, you clean it, you sweep it. You're proud of your everything they do, like they are proud and they do it to the best their ability. So what this quotation is saying, literally, I have seen it. I've seen the train conductors, those who work in the train or take your ticket, or in the restaurant, people that are like proud of their job and they do it in a to the best of their ability. So there are some people who implement this. It's not just a theory.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's not about how big what you're doing.
Yes.
So it's about how well you're doing it. You see, and that's your own contribution to the society. So because I'm not going to take your time because we're almost rounding up in 1 hour, so that I'll leave you to go and do other things.
Mhm.
Prof, what is your general advice to the teeming youths? Because we want to talk. We look for you because of intergenerational conversation.
Yeah.
So,
My
what is your advice
yeah.
to the young people,
Yeah.
especially in Africa and in Nigeria?
So my advice is this. Yes, things are difficult and you are living in a unique time, maybe the way the elders lived is different. That's fine. Even the elders, the way they lived is different from how their elders lived. You need to have something you live for. Okay. You need to have a goal and a motivation and make up your mind to go out and achieve that. And the way you do it is you tap advisors and mentors to give you advice on how to navigate the path. And to really think negatively or in a defeatist manner to say, hey, this is not possible, that is not helpful, because all that will do is make sure that you don't succeed. And you have to be unreasonable. Okay. Only unreasonable people achieve things. So I can tell you, even for me, when I was trying to follow my path and do the PhD, people were saying, why do you need to want to go do PhD? Just go do what everybody else does and do your trade consultancy and just come and do your thing. You can get a cushy job. But I was being unreasonable. I wanted to do what I wanted to do. Nobody has done it. It was my life. It is my life. It is your life. You only have one life to live. You decide how you want to live it. And if you are pursuing a goal, even if you don't achieve exactly that goal you have in mind, you're going to achieve something wonderful. So I am an optimist. I always tell people I don't see the point of being a pessimist about things. You need to be an optimist, but be realistic about how to change things. Never take no for an answer. um, and just keep pushing, and you will find yourself somewhere wonderful.
Well, Prof, being optimistic, what it means is that though you are in US, though there is angry choking finger of the economy in Nigeria, though there's a lot skirmishes of tribalism, skirmishes of religious parties, and all these kind of all those things. Being optimistic, I can say you believe in Nigeria.
Yes, I do. I have no choice. I have no choice. The alternative is not really good. The alternative is very ugly and bad. So we need to make it, we need to fix. See, you see, maybe the final thing I would say, you know, when I say that want to be optimistic and to be positive, it's not saying that I don't know or acknowledge the challenges, that I'm built like an ostrich with my head in the ground. Look, most of us Nigerians already know all the problems. That's all we talk about all the time. You know, we know, we analyze and we know all these things, and inside and they are very real problems and they do exist. But all of these problems can be solved because they are all related to human beings. It's all human related. So unless we decide that we want to be positive and change them, then we will never, it's not going to change overnight magically. We will just wake up and everything is fixed. So It's not that we don't appreciate that there are challenges. We know that. We already passed that stage. You are telling me something, I'm already beyond that point. What you are talking about problems, I'm already beyond that. I know that. And now where I want to say, here is some things we can do to change them, and we keep trying and we keep working until we change. There is no going back, no alternative, no surrender, as they say. No surrender. We have to make it work.
Wow, thank you. And finally, Prof, this is Chinedu Anichi TV. A lot of things happens in social media, where things trend just because of negativity. Some of us decided that instead of, just like Senorita said, instead of the whole world being in darkness, somebody can light a candle. So we decided to consider that a lot of people have been talking our talk. A lot of people have been talking about us. Asian people talk about Africa. Europeans talk about Africa. People talk about Nigeria. So I decided to come up with this platform where we can talk our own talk. We can bring out our best. We can also show that we are good. This platform, some people who don't believe in that value system will be different, but we keep moving. So within this short period, I followed you up, invited you, and today you're here. What can you tell the world about Chinedu Anichi TV? What do you think is the fate of this platform in the near future?
Hi, Chinedu. I'm very glad to be here. When you contacted me, I didn't know about this platform. And once I heard your message and what you intended to do, I immediately decided that I will do it. I will take the time to do it. I think we need more of this. I think you are pioneering something that we need to do for ourselves, like you have said. And I don't know how you came across my information and contacted me, but I'm glad you did. I know you are based in St. Louis. I got some of my training in St. Louis, as I was telling you. So, it's one of the places I benefited from personally, and I still have some friends there. But I think this is just a beginning. You are doing the right thing on the right track, and I hope more and more this gets spread more and more, and this becomes really a platform where when others want to know about Nigeria, they will look up this kind of shows and say, oh, this is what the Nigerians are saying, rather than some people who have maybe an agenda talking about us even when we are in the room as if we don't exist. So I'm really glad. Thank you for doing this, and I wish you all the best success with this work. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Prof, for coming, for finding time to be here. We are also grateful, my people, on behalf of Chinedu Anishi TV globally. I thank you for coming. We cannot pay you enough for this. We cannot pay you. So it's a selfless. He has shown how you love Nigeria, how you love the African, where you come from. It shows that you really make reference unconditionally to your roots, and that's very exemplary. Thank you, Prof, for coming, and I'm proud of you. We also solicit that if there are things or matters arising that we still need you, we can still contact you to come and say one or two things.
That would be good. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Prof. I'm grateful. Thank you. Bye. Yeah, my people, my name is Chinedu Anichi, your one and only celebrity CSO. Today we had a Professor Abbah SARKI of what do you call, Northwestern Fien School of Medicine, Chicago, Illinois. So, one of the best heads in Nigeria, and he is here. He just concluded now. So I promise you in this platform that we will be bringing men stuff. This is the man in 1984 who wrote WAEC, and WAEC was saying, how can somebody get this kind of result? They called him. He said it here. They called him to set another exam for him. He scored better than what he had. So And since then, he has been doing Nigeria Pride. Today is one of the best persons in the whole world researching on prostate cancer. So I know what it took me. He said here he didn't know how I found out about him. So we are trying every day to look for people who will make this platform worthwhile. So we might not be talking about Nyash, we might not be talking about all those things other people talk, but those who have value for what we teach, I thank you people for finding time to be in this platform. God bless you. My name is Chinedu Anichi, your one and only celebrity says so. And humanity is at the center of what we do. So go out today and see how you can touch somebody's life. Remember, don't wait for Big Kubana or Dangote or whoever is rich to touch people. We are all potential destiny helpers. Go out today, touch somebody's life. If you are watching this show live, share it. If you are watching it off live, still share it so that people will benefit from what this great experience. You know what it means? In America, to listen to this man, you pay thousands of dollars. But I sought for him, and he has come here to spend 1 hour. In order to validate and sustain the continuity of the relevance and value of what he has deposited here. Share this live video. Share this thing both in WhatsApp and everything so that people can listen to him. And we will all get better. God bless you. I love you. I appreciate many people, especially my uncle, my godfather, the man who trained me, is still alive. Chibuzo Obona Chief. I also thank Samuel Johnson, Judo Wine, Chidema Wakama, and others, and all those who are watching from Instagram. God bless you. Those on YouTube, God bless you. We keep moving. Remember, this is Chinedu Anichi TV, streaming live from United States of America. By 8 o'clock exactly today again, we will be having an ethicist, a great man, will be on this show again, representing Nigeria. If I read profile, you run away. But let it be that time. That is what we're talking, 2 p.m. Central American time and 8 p.m. That's what now. This is on 5. I think we'll have in the next 3 hours. In the next 3 hours, we'll be having him. So let's join back in the next 3 hours and let's have our brother. God bless you. God bless you. God bless you again. I love you all. Thank you.